If you're like me, most of your photos go straight from here on your camera to here on your computer. But are you really enjoying them that way? Here's Springfield artist Kim Heyde to show us how to frame your photos and really put them on display.
To make the project, I use wood for the frame. I've got 4 pieces of wood. These are 2-inch by 1-inch pieces of wood. In reality, it's a 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. And I've made each side just 1/4 of an inch larger just to give us a little bit of wiggle room while we're making it. I've got some wax paper underneath where I'm going to be working. The wax paper will keep the glue from leaking and getting on your tabletop. And you're going to use a non-toxic glue. I use Mod Podge, and you can pick that up at any one of your local arts home goods stores. Also for this project, you're going to need a brush. Any brush will work. This just happens to be one of those small little paint brushes. A little foam brush will also work. You just need something to spread the glue around on the top of the frame. To actually glue the wood together, the wood pieces, I use this wood glue and some paint. You can use any paint in the world you want to use. If you have leftover paint out in your garage, you're welcome to use that. You can use a brush. I use a spray paint. And you're going to need a photograph, and that's pretty much it. For today's purposes, we're going to be doing a frame for an 8.5 by 11 picture, because I figure everybody can print out their own 8.5 by 11 picture. So the box is actually going to be 11 1/4 inches by, let's see, 8.5, 8 3/4 of an inch. Because we want to have a little bit of space on the frame when we're building it, so there's a little bit of wiggle room just in case our frame isn't exactly square. So I guess the first step is, getting the wood, having it cut, and then sanding down the edges. So when you glue the box together, you don't have any loose pieces of wood that make the frame uneven. So just take some of the edges off. I got a nice clean cut, and I'm using a higher grade wood for this project, so it minimizes the amount of sanding that I have to do on it. Fantastic. It's nice and smooth and even edges. Next thing I'm going to do is lay out the wood. Now, I would recommend when you're doing this, the frame is going to be a portrait. So when it hangs on the wall, you'll notice on this side, I'm putting the small pieces on the inside of the frames. On the top and the bottom, the small pieces are going to be on the inside. That way, when somebody is looking at it on the wall, hopefully they shouldn't see those top joints or the bottom joints. That way you don't have to worry about mitering your corners, and it makes this project a lot more simple to do. Then we're going to glue the corners together. Not going to apply too much. You don't need a whole lot of glue to do this. Going to dab it on both sides. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to rub it on here just to help spread it out. Can you see how it makes it stickier? You can almost hear it too. That just means I'm going to get a good bond. Okay, feels good. So now let's put this thing together. Not everybody has a square laying around their house. So since I don't have a square, I'm just going to use the edge of the table as my little square. So now all we need to do is, and I'll run my fingers along each one of these joints, clean up some of the extra glue, and I can also feel my edges to make sure they're smooth. I'm not going to be too worried. Not all of the wood is necessarily always the exact same width. I don't know if you can see here or not, but there's a little bit of difference. But the neat thing is, on the underside, the frame should actually be flat, since it's laying flat on the table. So when we flip it over, the underside will be the flat side, and that will be the side that we apply our picture to. You'll notice that it's actually starting to get dry after 15-20 minutes. If you can give the glue an hour, that would be the best. Overnight is fantastic. But if you're like me and you've waited until the last minute to make a present for your parents, you can do it probably in 30 minutes. The next step would be to go outside and apply the paint to the frame. You really don't have to worry too much about the top where the picture is going to go, but if you remember what I told you in the beginning, you want to make your frame about 1/4 of an inch taller and a 1/4 of an inch wider. So for that extra space, we don't want the wood to show. Unless you're going for just a wood frame, then it's okay. But if you're not, I like to put a little bit of paint on the top as well. Make sure you get all the sides. I don't keep the nozzle pressed down when I'm doing it. I do it in just quick little strips going back and forth on it, because I don't want the paint to run. And then I would wait about 30 minutes. It's a fast drying paint, so give it about 30 minutes and you'll see that it's dry. If it still feels sticky to the touch, leave it until it's completely dry. Otherwise you'll wind up with fingerprints all over your frame. and then you'll turn the frame over and also paint the underside. The frame is now dry. We brought it inside, and the one side wasn't completely level, so I'm going to be using this side. So I've got nice smooth joints on this, so it'll make the picture go on nice and smoothly. It'll look fantastic. And I'm going to apply my Mod Podge. Again, I'm sure any glue will work, and anything that's non-toxic, because you don't want something to seep through and it's going to ruin your photograph. If there are toxins in the paint, it can seep through eventually, and it'll ruin your photo. I'm putting the glue on, and you want to do it liberally. You don't want to, this is fast drying glue, so you don't want it to dry too fast while you're doing it. You want to have a lot of time to get the picture on and get it straight and get it out to the corners. Don't worry about putting too much glue on. Whatever rolls out the side, we'll be able to wipe it up. You just put a little bit of water on it and it'll wipe right off. Again, it dries clear, so even if you miss a spot, hopefully you won't even see it. Okay, let's get this bad boy on. You know, sometimes frames are art themselves. This way, what we're building with the box, the focus is completely on your photograph. So when you stick it on the wall, you know, it's a done deal. Everybody sees just your picture, and it sticks out from the wall, and so it gives it a little bit of, I guess, texture depth on your walls, and it's a special, fun way of doing it. It's very inexpensive. I'd have to say the total cost for this project, just for doing one frame, you know, assuming that you could use the glue multiple times and everything else, it's going to be about $4. You can go back over and press it down. It may start to curl up on you a little bit, but don't worry, don't fret. As the glue starts to dry, it gets even tackier. You can use any kind of paper that you want. Again, I recommend photo paper just because it's thicker. I would even highly recommend using a quality photo paper such as HP or Kodak. They make really good papers. Again, they're thicker, and the glue won't seep through when you're working on your project, and it'll make it go on a lot smoother and a lot easier. All right, now that all the edges are down and smooth, we're going to go hang it up on the wall and enjoy it. Once you glue the picture on, it's not going to be coming off. I mean, in one piece. You can always take the picture off and sand the box back down. So if you have a bad breakup with somebody and you want to take the picture off, you can easily just get rid of somebody that way. Put somebody else new on.
Thanks, Kim. For more Weekend Design, continue to check Jacksonville.com. For Jacksonville.com, I'm Amanda Warford.